Hello, how are you? Very nice to see you, my God, after leaving Spain, leaving two people back. Now we are here. We are here to discuss and share the experience of this pilgrimage, which took place from April 19 to 30th, 2022. So let's begin with Jen.
Sure. So, really amazing experience for someone who hasn't really done a lot of international travel. The Spain, the Portugal. It was very exciting to go to France. Lourdes was one of my favorites. I got an amazing experience out of visiting the healing pools, and really just everything about Lourdes was just amazing. From the churches, the cathedrals, and to the new friends we have was incredible. We really had an opportunity to get to know a lot of people, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, Mom can wait a while. Chris, please.
I thought we were going from left to right.
No, the pastor changes everything.
You never said no to a priest. All right, so I'll go next. I want to talk about pilgrimage in a different way, how it touched me and how it changed my life. You can talk about all the money and all the material possessions and everything, but I think for the first time since I went to Medjugorje, which was the early 90s, what I got out of the trip, among most, not that everything else that you said, Jen, isn't true, is I got that peace and that serenity that you can't buy because it's a gift that's given. And if someone had told me that, I wouldn't have believed it. I mean, it happened to me in Medjugorje and changed my life. I never thought I would ever get that again. I mean, every now and again you'll go on a retreat and you'll get a buzz for a while, but then it goes, right? Well, here we are. This is July the 7th, and I'm still at peace. And I don't know more to say than that, because it is just the greatest gift. It's worth going on pilgrimage just to be touched by God and realize that He exists. So that's my experience of the pilgrimage.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Mom.
Oh, now back to me. Huh? I kind of got the same thing that Chris got, especially from Lourdes. We went to Fatima first, and it was a wonderful experience. But when I got to Lourdes, I really, really felt something. It was absolutely phenomenal. And Jen and I talked about it yesterday. We want to go back.
Annual works for me.
Yeah. The experience at Lourdes was beyond anything. You can't even put it in words, really. And then, of course, there was meeting all the new people and friends. And we did. We made friends on Staten Island. We're still in touch with everybody, which was the added gift of going on the trip.
All right. Kathy is Wendy's sister. That's how she came to the pilgrimage. What do you say, Kathy?
Well, at first I felt very blessed that my sister asked me to come on this pilgrimage, and there were so many amazing things. Going to Fatima and Lourdes and watching the candlelight procession gave me an overwhelming feeling of joy, like a tearful feeling of joy and awe. It was just amazing in both places, in both Fatima and Lourdes. There was a lot of special moments I felt, and two moments really touched me. One was when we were in Austria. We had near Fatima, where Our Lady appeared and the seers lived. St. Lucia's home, we got to see her home and everything, but across the street from St. Lucia's home was her eldest niece, who was still alive. And in her house, she sat in a room that had a large picture window, and she watched the pilgrim people go by. She was all dressed in black, and I got the opportunity to go in and visit with her. And I knelt down in front of her, and I held her right hand. It was super soft. And she had the rosary in her other hand. She spoke a few words to me in Portuguese. I smiled, she was smiling, and I gave her a kiss on her hand, and then I said thank you, and I left. I've since learned that she was invited the pilgrims to spread the message of Fatima and to pray the rosary for reparation of sins, and she would listen to the daily mass on the radio every day. I've since then also learned that just this past June 13th, on the anniversary of the apparition of Our Lady Fatima, she passed away. And so it was like, wow, I mean, I got to see her and touch her and talk to her, and she did so many wonderful things. It was like a very holy moment, it felt like. And the other special memory was in Lourdes. When we went to the grotto, my sister and I got to go together into the area where the baths were, and we received the blessings and the outpouring graces of the miraculous water together. And that during that time, I felt a special connection with our Blessed Mother Mary. You could feel her presence there. It was so peaceful. And something to remember. It was really, truly special and spiritual. And one last thing that I remember now, I remember something that I learned that I never knew before. When we went to the Basilica, the Catholic Basilica of Our Lady of Pillar, I learned that when she was still on earth, here alive, in 40 AD, she actually bilocated to Hispania, which is now called Spain, to see St. James the Greater, which is St. John the Apostle's brother, because he was very discouraged as he was evangelizing and didn't feel he was doing a very good job. And she came with angels, and she was on a pillar of rock, or it was jasper, and she encouraged him that the people of Spain are going to become Christians, and they're going to have a strong faith, and it's going to be as durable as the pillar that she was on. And they have a basilica there with her there, and we got to go to that, and we got to see it. And it was unique. It was her very first Marian apparition, and it was unique for that because she was still here on earth, and that was something I learned that I never knew before. But in addition, the very special thing was to have Father Roby and Father Peter with us, because you go on pilgrimage and now you don't always have a priest, and we had two of them. And they said Mass almost every day, which was a gift to us as well. So that's my story.
Thank you. Now, Deacon.
Everything about the trip was enjoyable for me, and I echo the same of everybody's comments here. I had been blessed that I had been to Fatima and Lourdes before, and so I didn't know if I would have the same feeling going again, and I did. They're just two very special places to see all the pilgrims that were there from around the world, and it's just constant. They're constantly coming from around the world, and I don't know how many people have physically been there. There's probably no real count, but it's just so amazing that the love of the Blessed Mother travels through them, into them. They take that home with them and share it with their friends. A special place for me on this trip was going to the home of St. Jacinta and St. Francisco. I had been there before, and it was nice to be there again. It's like visiting a friend. I'm back again. I see the house, see Francisco's bed, and to meet Lucia's niece, right? Lucia's niece. That was very special to me. I hadn't done this before, and I'm sorry to hear that she's passed on, but she's with Lucia now and up in heaven. But it's just anybody who's never been on a pilgrimage, I highly recommend to go on one. They don't have to go on a full one like this. They can go to one place or another. But it's such spiritually renewing to see all the people who do have the Catholic faith. You were always disparaging the Catholic faith around the world, but it's alive and well. Thank you.
Thank you. Wendy, what do you say?
Well, this was my first experience actually going overseas. I've never been in international anything before, so that was quite an experience for me. I almost didn't make it because in JFK they almost told me I couldn't go because I didn't have my card with me. I had to have a physical card. And I said, but it's on my phone. And they said, no, I'm sorry, we need a card. So luckily I had my tests that were with me and he accepted those. So I was like, oh, thank goodness. So I was able to join you guys. But my trip overall was, I enjoyed more so the experience with being around everybody that went, getting to know them, but also being in the presence of, you know, mostly like Fatima and Lourdes and everything is all, you know, focusing around Our Lady. And it was just so amazing. Everything I saw, because I'm very more picturesque, so all the art, all of the statues, everything. And even though I'm not an ideologist, but I'm just saying that they were so beautiful to look at and to see. And so I just took in as much of the architectural, anything historic, anything like that. And it brought me, you know, a lot of peace for myself, you know, because I was just like, wow, it's just amazing what you see in other countries, because if you're just staying here, you don't get that opportunity. But the pilgrimage in all, it was everybody being together, everybody, you know, experiencing different things to different people, and it was just a happy. I always had a smile to see everybody and how everybody was doing with how their pilgrimage was going for themselves. I was fascinated by Our Lady of Pilar too, but I was more fascinated because I'm historical. I love the story with regards to how Mary prevented 2 bombs that went into the church, the basilica, and prevented them from detonating. And that they had the bombs hanging on the wall, and they had the 2 holes in the church that were just like there for everyone to see and whatnot. And I thought that was amazing because, you know, that's a miracle that it did not destroy the building and stuff. But yeah, I would do this again, definitely. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Okay, Sandy.
Yes, I enjoyed the pilgrimage very, very much, and meeting all the people from New York and getting to know everyone in our parish. It was really just wonderful. It was something I was looking forward to for a very long time. And all winter long, I prayed to Mary. I have a bad knee, and I'm having knee surgery next month. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it for the trip. But I prayed to Mary all winter long, and I said, Mary, please get me through this trip. I'll take all the pain after. And I have. I've had a lot of pain. But I was able to get through it, and I loved it. And another reason, too, my best friend traveled with us. She's not here because she lives in Florida. She had a wonderful time, and to be with her for the almost 2 weeks was just wonderful. We got to have so many conversations about growing up together and taking this trip together. And when we were in Lourdes, especially, we both touched the rock in the grotto, and we both, our faces, our pictures, we were just smiling. It gave us so much peace and so much love to be there. Fatima was beautiful, and just everything we did was so nice, and our meals were great, and where we stayed, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful trip, and I felt very, very blessed to be able to go.
Thank you. You know, right now, I don't want to speak too much. You know, people are tired of my speaking anyway. So, I want to ask you, in general, everybody told about their personal experience. Is there anything that is very significant in this trip, personally to you? Anybody, would like to speak about it?
Well, I think, for me, obviously recovering from breast cancer, going to Lourdes and actually taking part in the healing pools and the magic of the water. I still have some in my fridge, by the way. I brought some home and I have a little ritual I do with it. But bringing that water back and sharing it with people that have been very sick, like personally, I've seen an improvement in them just from sharing the water and sharing the experience of Lourdes. And I mean, I always feel great, but I feel even better since I visited Lourdes. I feel healthier and much happier.
Wonderful.
Speaking of the water, I think that we all came together as a group and we all sort of really became family. And I think one of the things that really stuck out in my mind is, and what Jennifer hasn't alluded to, is that the original water that she collected got lost. It ended up dispersed through her suitcase. And everyone else in the group contributed some of their water so that she could have water to come back with. That was something that really touched me, that everybody came together as a group to support my daughter.
That's beautiful. Anybody else?
Well, there's many things that stand out, but when I decided to go, what I was I'm a huge fan of Divine Mercy Chapel. And Divine Mercy Sunday was during the trip when we were on our way to Lourdes, and I was so worried because we all know how powerful that day is, the blessings you get. It's just an unbelievable experience as far as I'm concerned. And lo and behold, what was her name again? Barbara? No, was it Barbara? Two ladies. No, not the tour lady. Getting back to your...
Oh, Barbara.
It was Barbara. Yeah, it was Barbara. So, the whole group got on really well, not just us, because, you're right, we're family, but we had an extended family too.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody.
We all got on great.
Mixed well.
Yes.
And lo and behold, doesn't Barbara have a book with her? And the book is What to Do on Divine Mercy Sunday. So she went to the front of the bus and we did the Divine Mercy Sunday, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And with all these wonderful people, on the way to Lourdes,
Yeah.
does it get any better than that?
And you, Chris, you did, by heart, all the prayers.
Yeah, I've said it a few times.
But that was beautiful.
Yes.
Anyone else? Well, the main reason for me to go to this trip was Fatima. Although we are devoted to Our Lady of Lourdes, my family was very devoted to Our Lady of Fatima. And as I told you in Fatima, that my ordination took place in Our Lady of Fatima Church, So that was the main reason why I started the trip. But everything was more than devotional. It was very personal to me as a priest and as a pastor. With you all, it made a big difference. Every time we said Mass, every time we prayed, and every time we ate, it was beautiful. And I also felt the presence of God in a tangible way, especially in Lourdes and Fatima, and of course in Avila too. You know, because when I began to imagine, I asked the guide. She was born here, the Teresa of Avila. She was born here, and she told me she was walking around the street, the same place. That's what I mean by tangible. I could touch it. So I'm glad that I made this trip,